I'm going to ask my friend John Kanary, who was a coach before coaching was a thing. He a former partner of Bob Proctor's, one of the very best in the world. John is legally blind and is got a message to you about mindset, which is exactly what our friend Van has, an extraordinary top performer's mindset. John has got about a 15-minute talk, just briefly, about top performer mindset. Because I think that's a huge part of what it is that makes you the best, makes Van Miller one of the very best in the business. So I'm going to just put his mic back in place. And would you please help me welcome my good friend, John Kanary.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, let's put a little bit of zip in that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, in talking to Michael knows something about me from down in somewhere in Georgia, wasn't it, Michael? That I was doing a seminar down there with the Prudential at that time. I don't know if you're with Prudential, but anyway, at that time. And the interesting thing about that is we used to use a word. You know, if you walk through that door, you say to people, how you doing? Most of them will say, not too bad. And what I'm going to ask you to do is use a word, how to reframe that word and see just how well you do. I want you to use the word wonderful. So let's just try that. How do you feel?
Wonderful!
Now you see, if you were to spell the word, would you spell it W-U-N-D-E-R-F-U-L, or would you spell it W-U-N-D-E-R-F-U-L? Because according to the big book, that's how it actually is pronounced, as wonderful with you in the middle.
Sorry, John.
Am I going to be okay here?
I think you'll be fine.
I haven't been searched in a long time.
Was it good for you too, John? Or?
So anyway, let me tell you a good story here. A good friend of mine and mentor and someone who spent a lot of time with me, Bob Proctor. We spent a good 25 years or more together. We were doing all of the Prudential right across the United States. I mean, we didn't miss one single agent at that particular time. And then something interesting happened. When we finished those seminars in the United States, we had to go and do a follow-up. I had to go into Illinois, do a follow-up there, and then maybe somewhere else right after that. But what happened is I was staying with the vice president of that company at the time. And we were driving home to his place to have dinner, which he used to do every day for 10 days. And he said, John, we have to stop at the senior citizens home where Betty, that's his wife, is a volunteer worker. And he said, you have to come in and see what goes on in that meeting. Well, I'll go where I can pick up a new idea. So I walk into this place and the senior citizens are having a great time. They're dancing and singing and yodeling and all those great things. But she stopped and she asked everybody a question, and she had her eyes closed when she was looking out at everybody with her heart. And she asked one question. Excuse me. And the question was, what is the one thing on earth that people want every single day of their life? And this is what we heard: love, health, happiness, sex, which was encouraging at that age. And said, no, it's none of those things. She said, what people want every single day of their life is something called a hug. H-U-G. So, since she was right when she said a hug, and she was right about that, don't you think that we should honor that and just turn to the person beside you and give them a hug? Come on. And we got excellent participation. I'll be fine. You know, the one thing we all have in common, everybody in this room, everything we have in common goes something like this. I'm going to put down this big R on this sheet of paper. And I want you to let it represent the word results, because that's what it's all about. The bottom line is results. No matter what else you do, If we don't get results, it obviously isn't working for us. Excuse me. And I want you to think about results in our health, in our happiness, and in our wealth. Health, happiness, and wealth, our well-being. But you know, from time to time we meet people. These people, they seem to think that they've already achieved everything they want to achieve. They really get into that idea. But think about it this way. It's either create or it's disintegrate. We can't stand still even if we wanted to. Now, I enjoyed a lot of this morning, a whole lot what this unique man had to say, what he gave you here this morning, and what Jim was giving you here this morning. It's just simply amazing as I was listening to it. See, here's what I feel like a big part of the problem is. You get all of this information, but you have no way of directing it. And what I'd like you to do is separate something for me here. I want you to refer to it as mindset. I want you to think about something called mindset. And the mindset has 5 basic principles, and the very first principle is focus. Now you think about the word focus for just a moment. It's where you gather all these here thoughts and you direct those thoughts to something magnificent. The second one is clarity. How clear are you on what you really want? I mean, with this great information you're given today, it's going to require somebody who's going to exercise it and decide what it is they want. See, the one thing you're in control of is what you want. Everybody's in control of what they want. I'm sorry. But think about it now. Clarity. So we got 2 things. We got focus and we got clarity. The third one is motivation. How motivated are you to do what you do? To do whatever you do? How motivated are you to do it? And of course, the next one is commitment. Commitment to completion. We need to have a commitment to completion for any objective that we're working toward. Number 5 is persistence. How persistent are you? I think you got to be persistently consistent. That's what I think. Persistently consistent. Now, that's taking care of the one side. Now we just move to the other side and we talk about that as skill set. Skill set starts off with prospecting. How effective are you at prospecting and finding somebody who will sit down and listen to what you've got to say? How good are you at that? Because that's essentially what we get paid to do. That's one of the greatest things we can do for ourselves is become a master prospector. Next, our mindset. How set are you in your mind and what you do? Like when you heard what you heard today, a lot of it was to do with your skill set. A lot of it. Next is closing. I want you to think of closing differently today than you ever have before. Closing is the logical conclusion to an effective and orderly sales presentation. Let me say that again. Closing is the logical conclusion to an effective and orderly sales presentation. You've got to be orderly in your sales presentation, and again, coming back to asking those right questions. Mr. Prospect, can you see how this can make a big difference in your life? That's a good question to ask them regardless of what you're talking about. Okay. The next one, of course, is referral. How many ask for like one referral? How many do that? Could I see a show of hands? Why don't you ask for 10? I mean, why not say to the prospect or your client, why not say, can you give me 10 referrals? And talk to them about that. I promise you, you'll probably end up with some referrals. I don't know how many, but I'll guarantee you it'll get better. The last one is marketing yourself. So those points, mindset, skill set. If you take and exercise that in your daily approach and everything you do every day, I think you'll find a big difference in your productivity. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed being here, and I think you've got a lot to take home with you. Thank you very much.